Hi there. So, I wanted to share something with you that has the potential to completely rewrite your life. I know that sounds kind of grand, but it really isn't an exaggeration. And it's actually rather simple. So, I want to share with you what I know about the blessing of Ho'oponopono. I talked a moment about it, probably a little over a year ago, maybe. I thought it was funny because I couldn't pronounce it and I didn't think it mattered, but really it does because the word itself is a blessing. But that blessing is actually 4 statements. These statements are: I love you, I am sorry, please forgive me, and thank you. Mind you, these days it's been broken down because, once you connect so much with your heart, the feeling is there when you say I love you or thank you just by themselves. And it's the intention that matters. It's always the intentions. So these statements, they're not just things you say in some random prayer. It's something that you say to every experience and every one and every moment in a state of gratitude or in a state of surrender or complete presence. I'm just going to use examples because it's easier to explain it. Let's say you have a life experience, and we'll just keep it as a simple one, just some simple experience that doesn't rub you the right way in whatever way that is. And you use these statements as a grounding, as a reminder of who you are and what's happening. And you say, I love you. When you say I love you, you're saying I love you to a piece of you. Because we're all one source energy. Despise what our vessel and or temple looks like, we are all one source energy within us. And so when you come across something else, here's the dogs, guys. When you come across a piece of you or something that you are not feeling aligned with, first of all, you are aligned with it or it wouldn't be there. And that's the biggest reason for doing this. But, you say, I love you to the piece of God, the piece of you that has come into your presence to show you something you may not know exists. A feeling. It's always a feeling, but it'll bring up some feeling within you that you didn't know existed. Then you say, I'm sorry. The I'm sorry is a recognition for not realizing what it was you were seeing, that this was a reflection of you. Please forgive me falls right around the same lines, except it's taking responsibility, really. It's saying, forgive me for I knew not what was really going on. I was unable to see or know. And thank you. Because you're thanking that piece of you that's come into your presence to bring clarity, to unveil something that you may not have seen. Some label it as shadows. There's all sorts of wonderful things going on when you're able to bring that energy into every single experience. Now, mind you, the reason that these statements and this blessing works the way it does is because you're addressing the way you feel. You're not looking at a situation, wanting it to change, thinking that it's wrong or that it's not supposed to be happening. You're addressing how you feel in your heart about it. Pure and simple. And when you see the world change around you just by addressing the way you feel about something in your heart, then that will tell you unequivocally every single time without a doubt that that's how connected you are to this piece of you. It's just the way that it naturally works. There's nothing that ever needs to be changed except for the way that you feel about things, because it's the way that you think and feel about something or anything that makes it be. And figuring out that all you're here to do is love and bless everything. Because it's all just pieces of you, is a pivotal changing, game changer. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And this may be confusing, and honestly, it's risky for me to even share this with you, because it's said that if people practice this in some egoic way where they're carrying confusion about it or some sort of dualistic view of separation and all sorts of other resistance to what truly is within them, then they can actually create more confusion in the world. And they can create an energy that will pour back into my heart, which is okay, because I can identify when that happens, and I can say I love you and thank you, even when I'm feeling something that isn't even being really like an experience in life. So as another example, you'll be, as you go through this process, there's going to be all sorts of things that come up from within you. You'll be chilling at home, you'll be doing something, and you don't necessarily have to be triggered by any certain situation. It's just these energies and these confused thoughts and these feelings get stuck in the breeze. And so the wind will blow by, and all of a sudden your feelings will change, and you won't be able to identify it. But guess what? You won't need to identify it. That's the beauty of this prayer, people. You actually don't have to get all crazy deep. You don't have to analyze it unless you have a lot of trauma that's blocking you and your energy field, which needs to be cleansed out. But just by saying I love you and thank you, you literally erase whatever negative thoughts you're having. And if you just say I love you and thank you, and I love you and thank you, and I love you and thank you, and I love you and thank you, even in your own head, you're literally clearing stuck energy. And sometimes, like for me at the beginning, because I do love and thank everything, but I really wasn't in that super deep feeling state. But by just offering that as my offering and my intention, all of a sudden, the most beautiful things started to click and set into place. And I really long for that for you. I know you don't need it, and all of this is going to come to you as it comes to you, but there are those of us that understand that we have to pass on a good message, leave a good footprint, if you will. There is so much that you can do. Just imagine if you approached every life experience you've had from this blessing. This is actually something I did, because I've had quite a plethora of experience just in this lifetime alone, and I literally wrote down an entire list of these events that have taken place in this lifetime, and I looked at them, I allowed myself to get in that feeling place, and then I said I love you and thank you. Really meaning it, understanding, I waited until I felt like I really understood what it is that I'm telling you here. Hi, Gigi. But this is real deal stuff, people. The things that are becoming clear to me are becoming clear to me because this is the state in which I live in. I've always kind of had this somewhat default mode, but I've had all sorts of trauma and in this lifetime that left me rather triggered and in fight or flight, if you will. And so much beauty lies behind all that fear and pain. And you don't have to carry it anymore. So just choose to let it go with love and gratitude. I love you and thank you.